A string of sexual assaults and robberies during New Year's celebration in Germany has added fuel to the refugee debate in Germany. Both police and eyewitnesses say that men who targeted dozens of women in the city of Cologne appeared to be of Arabic and North African origin. Joining me now, Liz Peek, Jessica Tarloff, and Yodit Tewolde. And back with us again, Mercedes Schlepp. Yodit, let me start with you. Germany, obviously, under a lot of pressure. They've taken in the most refugees. Angela Merkel under a lot of pressure herself. And now the debate is whether they've gone too far, as some of these northern European countries are saying they can't do it anymore. Maybe this is what stems the tide there and starts to change their minds.
Look, you know, starting to talk about banning groups of people from countries is starting a very dangerous precedent. This issue is very personal to me because my family and I we were refugees. We came from a country, Eritrea, an impoverished and war-torn country located in northeast Africa. And I thank God that we were given the opportunity to achieve, you know, the American dream. And so what's happening in Germany isn't about immigration. It's about these sexual assaults and these abuses against these women.
Well, wouldn't it be about who's committing them?
But we don't
in other words, there's a spike. There's been a spike in places like Sweden and other places, though, and you know, it's recorded evidence. You know, it's not hype or hyperbole. It's one of these things where, let's say that they do pan out. What should be done?
But they haven't. And I'm not talking hypotheticals here, Charles. At this point, no arrests have been made.
That does not mean it didn't happen.
These incidences are being used to bolster some sort of anti-refugee agenda. What they should be doing, law enforcement should be doing, is investigating these offenses. And they shouldn't be guessing as to who the perpetrators are or where they come from. What needs to happen.
But I don't think they're really guessing. They're really talking.
Guessing.
Well, but what many people have described, the look of the people, the fact that they didn't speak either German or English, and they appeared to be speaking Arabic, etc. Look, I think you're right. Obviously, no one should be jumping to conclusions here, but part of the problem is that they failed to even talk about this or report it for several days. So it appears to be kind of an effort by the authorities to stem just the kind of conversation that now you are having there, and you're having it, by the way, in numerous European countries. My view is this could be the end of Angela Merkel.
And the Mercedes, you know, a lot of people in Germany are saying, yes, indeed, we do want this police investigation that Yodit is talking about, because they believe there's been a political cover-up in order not to sort of smear Merkel or dissuade this program, of this refugee program.
That's right. And even Germany's justice minister came out and basically warned we don't want to link the assaults to the migrants. But the problem is that there's video footage out there showing that it is these migrant gangs, that there are these men that are either from Arab or North African descent, and the authorities don't want to even describe them as such. And so that's the problem. They're walking a very fine political line right now because they are trying to be, quote unquote, politically correct and trying not to stir the pot.
And of course, this echoes here at home because we've got the political correctness which a lot of people are pushing back on, and also the question of multiculturalism. Does it work? Does it work when people go into your country and don't adopt your sort of cultures? You know, bring parts of your language, bring your food, bring your customs, but adopt and embrace the country that you have chosen to be your new home.
I think that's really important. And, you know, speaking as a liberal, as a Democrat, I think that's actually very core to what we're all about, which is that the American dream is achievable and that you should come here. You should also learn our language and you should participate in our country in that way. But you have religious freedoms. I mean, I hate that we're having discussions about banning Muslims, that seems reasonable to a large segment of the population here. These are destructive and frightening conversations to be having. In Germany, as the Justice Minister said, we're going to investigate this and get to the bottom of it. But as of now, there's no proof that these people came from Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, and that's what we're Mercedes. But that's what we're talking about right now. Whether we're going to be taking refugees who are running away from the civil war in Syria, and at this moment, we don't know if these people are.
But I also think there's a little bit of a matter of degree here. Angela Merkel's party has brought 1 million people into a nation of 80 million people. This is a gigantic upheaval economically and in every other way, and they're not equipped to deal with it. I think that is really what's sort of becoming evident.
Real final word, Yodit.
Until there is an arrest, a charge, and conviction, we need to stop with these blanket suspicions of foreigners and refugees, period.
Well, I don't think that's going to stop, you know, because
Donald Trump is on the case.
Well, not just that,
in this particular case.
But overall, though, we have heard that, and we have seen evidence and particularly some of these Norwegian countries, like places like Sweden, where it's a real concern. It's a real concern, and we've got to address it. They've got to address it, and probably one day we'll have to address it. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Speaking